Pete, good morning. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's great. One of the great treats. Oh, you know me pretty well over 70 years or whatever we've worked together. Game 7 of the World Series is like the best day of the year for me. Whenever it happens, it doesn't happen that often, but when it happens, and I found this to be such a compelling series, and a series between two cities. I mean, I think I can make the argument that it may be more important to the Indians and Cleveland than it is to the Cubs in Chicago, just because the Cubs are going to be there for several years. I mean, the Indians are still 28th in the major leagues in attendance, and the city is down to 370,000 people. I think that having LeBron and the Indians win in 1 year might just do an incredible amount for downtown Cleveland.
We like to attach pressure, who's got more pressure, and I don't know if, is it 60-40, 51-49, 50-50? Who do you think has more pressure tonight, if either team does?
Well, I was just thinking about that this morning, about how it goes back and forth per game. I thought that there was a lot of pressure on the Cubs when they went back home, and everybody expected, they're going to, it's going to be great. We're going to win here. And then last night, I really felt that the Indians, on the verge of clinching, really played uptight. I mean, not only the defensive mistakes, but some of the at-bats were unusual. And I thought a little bit undisciplined. And I really felt they sort of felt it, the feeling of Cleveland, because it really was wild here yesterday. And then now tonight, that's why the seventh game is so great. There's not really any difference in pressure. They're both okay. We go out, we win. There's no sort of, we're supposed to win on either team. And I think it makes for a lot of fun. And I think that for the Cubs, they're so young that all of a sudden the moment is very special. And they have a lot of players on that team who are young, who are high draft choices, who are very talented, who really get what it means to be here. And I think the Indians as a team really understand why. I mean, it may have only been, 68 years as opposed to 108 years, but it's still so incredible for Cleveland that and the Indians, all of a sudden there's nothing to lose for either team. I think it'll make for a lot of fun tonight. And considering how warm it is, and if you take ballpark factors, Cleveland is one of the top offensive parks in baseball this year. Instead of it being 3-2 like it was when the wind was blowing in Wrigley, maybe it's going to end up like a 7-6, 8-7 game, and we're going to end up with 13 pitchers in the game. I don't know.
Well, I was also, speaking of pitchers, with what happened with Joe Madden and Aroldis Chapman, we know what the end result was, but in the moment, what did you make of that move and to have Chapman come out and pitch the ninth inning when you have such a big lead?
I accept, I was surprised by it. Joe obviously doesn't think that Chapman's going to be affected by having pitched the day before. We can all sing along with Warren Zevon, so I'll sleep when I'm dead. And so I was surprised he came out for the ninth. I thought he could have send the trainer to the mound and say his ankle's bothering him and go get somebody else. But I also understand Joe's looking at what the Indians have done this year. And they've got 38 come-from-behind wins at home. They're 53-28 at home in the regular season. And they had 38 come-from-behind wins. I get it. And I think I can't remember the number of last at-bat wins, walk-offs. But I think there's a fear. Don't let them back into it. Let's just hold this game, and we'll figure out what we do tomorrow. It's almost like Jim Valvano, just survive and move on. And I think that's the way he was looking at it. And it was easier for Terry Francona because there was no need to crank Miller and Allen out there. But in Joe's case, there is this. Make sure that there's a tomorrow, and go from there. And then wherever Aroldis Chapman is next April, he can go out and make his next appearance.
Who should be favored tonight?
I think the Indians, because Kluber has been so great in his starts in the postseason, and he's thrown so few pitches. He's only averaged 92 pitches per start in the postseason. Only 84 in these 3 straight games with 3 days rest. So he could probably get them 18 outs and then get Miller and Allen into the game pretty securely. And I think that gives them an advantage. The difference will be if, besides being 65 to 70 degrees and humid, the wind is blowing out and it impacts Kluber. But I don't think it will. I think that I think it's going to be interesting. I think the other thing is, and I have great admiration for Kyle Hendricks, but if he's only going to go 5, where the Cubs go, Will Lester and Lackey, how will they be in relief? I mean, they're both extraordinary pitchers, great money pitchers, but I always refer to them as they're both fussy. And I'm not sure relief pitchers can be fussy. And so, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what they do out of the bullpen. It's if they have to pitch the 6th and 7th innings, they may be brilliant. But on the other hand, maybe they aren't. And maybe Chapman isn't quite what he has been at certain times. I mean, his velocity was down a little bit last night. He was up to 101 the night before, but on Sunday night. But this is something, I think they're a bullpen situation because of Strop and Rondon being so ineffective, really leaves them with the difficulties of trying to plow through the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings.
Well, have fun tonight, Pete. Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
I certainly will. Thank you very much.
That's Peter Gammons, Hall of Famer, MLB network broadcaster, analyst.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.